Daily Words of God. Everyone who has read the Bible knows that many events happened when the Lord Jesus was born. The greatest among those events was him being hunted by the king of devils, which was an event so extreme that all of the city's children who were aged 2 years old and under were slaughtered. It is evident that God assumed great risk by becoming flesh among humans. The great price that he paid for completing his management of saving mankind is also evident. The great hopes that God held for his work among mankind in the flesh are also evident. When God's flesh was able to take on work among mankind, how did he feel? People should be able to understand that to some degree, should they not? At the very least, God was happy because he could start carrying out his new work among mankind. When the Lord Jesus was baptized and officially began his work to fulfill his ministry, God's heart was overwhelmed with joy, because after so many years of waiting and preparation, he could finally wear the flesh of a normal man and begin his new work in the form of a man of flesh and blood, who people could see and touch. He could finally speak face to face and heart to heart with people through the identity of a man. God could finally come face to face with mankind through the medium of human ways and human language. He could provide for mankind, enlighten them, and help them using human language. He could eat at the same table and live in the same space with them. He could also see human beings, see things, and see everything the way humans saw them, and even through their own eyes. For God, this was already his first victory of his work in the flesh. It could also be said that it was an accomplishment of a great work. This, of course, was what God was happiest about. Starting from then, God felt, for the first time, a sort of comfort in his work among mankind. All of the events that came to pass were so practical and so natural, and the comfort that God felt was so true. For mankind, each time a new stage of God's work is accomplished, and each time God feels gratified, that is when mankind can come closer to God and to salvation. To God, this is also the launch of his new work, forging onward in his management plan. And, moreover, these are the times when his intentions approach complete fulfillment. For mankind, the arrival of such an opportunity is fortunate and very good. For all those who await God's salvation, it is momentous and joyous news. When God carries out a new stage of work, then he has a new beginning. And when this new work and new beginning are launched and introduced among mankind, it is when the outcome of this stage of work has already been determined and accomplished, and the final effect and fruit already seen by God. This is also when these effects make God feel satisfied, and, of course, it is when his heart is happy. God feels reassured because, in his eyes, he has already seen and determined the people he is looking for, and has already gained this group of people, a group that is able to make his work successful and bring him satisfaction. Thus, he puts aside his worries, and he feels happy. In other words, when the flesh of God is able to embark upon new work among man, and he begins to, without obstruction, do the work that he must do. And when he feels that all has been accomplished, then for him the end is already in sight. Because of this, he is satisfied, and his heart is happy. How is God's happiness expressed? Can you imagine what the answer might be? May God cry? Can God cry? Can God clap his hands? Can God dance? Can God sing? If so, what would he sing? Of course, God could sing a beautiful, moving song, a song that could express the joy and happiness in his heart. He could sing it for mankind, for himself, and for all things. God's happiness can be expressed in any way. All of this is normal because God has joys and sorrows, and his various feelings can be expressed in various ways. This is his right, and nothing could be more normal and proper. People should not think anything else of it. You should not try to use the band-tightening spell on God, telling him he should not do this or that. He should not act this way or that, and in this way limit his happiness or any feeling he might have. In people's hearts, God cannot be happy, cannot shed tears, cannot weep. He cannot express any emotion. Through what we have communicated during these two fellowships, I believe you will no longer see God in this way, but will allow God to have some freedom and release. This is a very good thing. In the future, if you are able to truly feel God's sadness when you hear about him being sad, and you are able to truly feel his happiness when you hear about him being happy, then at least you will be able to clearly know and understand what makes God happy and what makes him sad. When you are able to feel sad because God is sad, and feel happy because God is happy, he will have fully gained your heart, and there will no longer be any barrier between yourself and him. You will no longer try to constrain God with human imaginings, notions, and knowledge. At that time, God will be alive and vivid in your heart. He will be the God of your life and the master of everything about you. Do you have this kind of aspiration? Are you confident that you can achieve this?